Peter Lobo phoned me. He was supposed to join today.
Yes.
Thank you.
A very good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 8th webinar that Birdwatcher Society is organizing. And it is my pleasure today to present Professor Hilloljyoti Singha from the Department of Zoology, Bodoland University, Kokrajhar, Assam, to present a talk on the birds of Barak Valley, Assam. This is being organized by Birdwatchers Society, Kolkata. And as you all know, Birdwatchers Society, Kolkata is a group of volunteers of bird watchers, those who are passionate about birds. Again, not only just increasing their list of birds, but also monitoring bird populations, monitoring bird habitats, advocating for conserving the bird habitats. So I welcome all of you today, this evening, and thank you for being with us. Before I give it over to the speaker, Dr. Hillol, I would just like to say a few words about Dr. Hilloljyoti Singha. Born in Dhubri district of Assam, he had his early education from Kokrajhar district. Then on, he went on to do his master's from Guwahati University in zoology. He continued to do his PhD from Aligarh Muslim University in ecology, biology, and ethology of the greater adjutant stock in Nagaon district for his intensive work, but he worked throughout the Brahmaputra Valley of Assam. And those of you who have joined us previously, we had a very interesting talk about the greater adjutant stock from Purnima Burman. He started his career by working as a lecturer in zoology in a college in Bongaigaon, again in Assam. And then he went on to work also as an assistant professor at the Center for Biodiversity and Natural Resource Conservation at Assam University in Silchar. And he did that until December 2019. After that, he joined Bodoland University at the Department of Zoology, and currently he's a professor there. Hillol has actually got about 11 students who graduated, PhD graduates under his supervision. And he has 2 more students who are working for their PhD under his supervision. But more than that, I think Hillol has mentored so many young students in Assam and elsewhere. And one of his most interesting thing is that he's encouraged so many young people to join nature conservation, be it in birds or butterflies or in mammals. So he's been a mentor to a lot of students in Assam. So this is what I have to say about Hillol. And some house rules are, I would request everyone to please put off your microphones, keep it in muted mode. And questions, for the questions, we have the chat box. And if any one of you all have questions, then please type your questions on the chat box. And then at the end of the presentation, I will read it out and Professor Hillol will answer all your questions. So with that, I will hand over the session to Dr. Hillol. Over to you, Hillol.
Thank you and namaskar to everybody. Good evening all. It's my honor to deliver something in front of you. And I'm grateful to the Birdwatcher Society, Kolkata. We have members all over the country as well as abroad, I guess. And when they approached, and Soraya has been my friend since late 90s, and I could not avoid. And I tried, I would try to say something about birds of Barak Valley because I had been working there for the last 10 years when I was involved in teaching in Assam University, Silchar. So with all those, my experiences as well as information, I would like to make a collaborative presentation here. I would say collaborative in the sense that I have borrowed slides from many of my students, as well as information and some photographs also, because I am not a good photographer and I don't have so many photographs at my hand. So whatsoever, and I have put all those things in this, and it is like I'm representing on behalf of all of my well-wishers as well as students who've been working in various fields of nature conservation as well as research. At the same time, I would like to clarify one thing. I am afraid that I might not discourage you by saying that when I will be talking to many of your bird watchers, it is not like this. I would be showing only the birds and their whereabout they are found, but also I would try to touch upon some things about little bit about research. That means not only the, what should I say, the bird watching, but also the bird observation by which we can do something about. So with this, as you saw, this is one of the picturesque valley of Barak Valley. And let me
Hilol, you
start with
need to
this.
share your screen.
Sorry?
Hilol, you need to share your screen.
Okay, okay. I
Yeah,
thought
it's
it was
shared.
clear. It is shared?
Okay, yeah.
I stop again, I will show you. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So before I forget, I'm grateful to all those people actually who have been contributing in various ways, right from Professor Ashish Kumar, sorry for the spelling mistake here, to all my students and whoever worked with me in the field, as well as contributed from by different various means actually, by encouraging, support, etc. So I'm happy and I'm proud of all of my students. So anyway, right from the, if you see the physiographical map of Northeast India, this is the girdle of mountains, which is ultimately entire, during the British Raj, entire, it is called Assam Valley. Now, as Assam has been split into 7 states, so this is the river Brahmaputra, and that's why we get Brahmaputra Valley, and here Barak River flows through in, and this is called, that's why Barak Valley, right from Mizoram. And here, sorry, and courtesy to Dr. Pranjit Sharma for the map of Aranya. If you see the map of this Assam with all this vegetation, then you can see this particular area where I am talking about. This is in the border area of Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura. These having some vegetations are there, but all of them are already varied like this. So we'll be talking about this. And as I already mentioned, if we carve it out from this position from Assam and this position here. Now, if I blow it out, then you can see, again, courtesy to Arup or Pranjit for this map. See, already this is the Boreal Hill Range going up to Nagaland. And here some, I mean, hills and vegetations are there, but still it is barren. So whatever it is very mosaic kind of habitat, that's why I'm giving some examples to you. Because of these mosaicness and diversity of habitats, there are so many diversities. And if you see the position of this particular area, and entire northeast, it is kind of a central position because it is guarded by Manipur, Mizoram, and Tripura, and other side, Bangladesh is there. As I told you, the various different habitats are there. If you see the aquatic habitat, then you can see basically these are some examples. Interestingly, in Barak Valley, the terminology is very interesting. For example, the wetlands are told like Vil or Baur, then Haur, then Anoa, like this. Anoa, suppose this is Baskandi Anoa, you see, this is a kind of a horseshoe-shaped lake. So this is called Anoa or Anoa. Shonbil is a perennial water body, and Haur is whenever in winter the water gets, I mean, dried up like this. And you can see some small pools even within the tea garden areas. So it is very interesting. I will be coming to this position, and some bird roosting, aquatic bird roosting nearby those wetland areas. And suppose this is again another river, Sonai and Dolu River coming from Boreal Hill Range. So with this introductory part, I would like to show you that if you go through Barak Valley like this, you can go through this road and so many vegetation always will be there. Actually, the entire, it is very undulating terrain. Interestingly, 200 years back, when British already chopped off some the hills and they become hillocks, and all the logs have been shipped through the Bay of Bengal to United Kingdom, and they made some tea states. Now, if you go through like this, then to the Manipur, Mizoram border, you can see this kind of good vegetation as well. However, within this vegetation, you can find some barren areas. That means it is made for shifting cultivation or for zooming. And sometimes because these hillocks or hills are made for some monoculture like pineapple cultivation. Again, if you see from picturesque landscape, from plain area to different layers of hills in the Boreal range or Boreal wildlife sanctuary, you can see a few grasslands, only few grasslands are there in Barak Valley. And this is very common picture, I would say. Suppose this is a paddy field and these are some hillocks and people are settling over here. So this is a very common picture in entire Barak Valley. And it gives us an indication that earlier, maybe 200 years back, entire things were forest, deep forest, and that's why many species, particularly species of butterflies, had been discovered in this particular locality. And see, again, some clearings will be there, and even within the clearings, if this reward is, sometimes you get some bird, like just a sabbatical. Whenever you go around in the village, you will get some bird species as well. Now, again, another view I would like to show you. This is another view. See in the horizon, some villages are there. And some villages look like this. So this is a different kind of home garden. But the typical home garden, for which I have borrowed the slide from my teacher, Professor Ashish Kumar Das, and see the different layers of home garden. And importantly, these home gardens are also very good habitat for different species of birds. So we have to look around, not for, birds not in the forest only, but birds can be visible in every year. Another interesting thing I would like to show you in case of Barak Valley is called Pan Jhum. The Jhum you already know, shifting cultivation, but this place is burned, slashed and burned, but this is not shifted. And these trees are not felled. These trees are not felled. Instead, these creepers are there. These palms, that is called beetle leaves, are there. These are the cash crop of many people like Khasi people and all the indigenous people in the Barak Valley. They live on by cultivating this. It is very interesting, and one of our scholars actually were deputed to work on this area, what kind of species, bird, butterfly are also found there. And these are protected by the people themselves so that still they keep some diversity. And it is always fun in this valley. Actually, if you go on, it is many places are jeepable or motorable. You can go by bike, motorcycle, or jeep. And the reward is there. That means always it is exciting to get some more birds on the either side of the road. Okay, now if you see this kind of very good, deep vegetation with the cloud cover in Boreal Wildlife Sanctuary, but you may face this kind of fog, not fog, this smog or something. It is not actually the cloud. See the burning. That means people already started burning because to make it barren land. That is for me. So this is another issue of this land. However, now let me come to my workplace when I used to work for last 10 years, Assam University, Assam University campus. So I'd like to give you an idea, where from should I start? Because I joined Assam University in 2009, October. And then we thought that, okay, we should start from this campus because this campus is a very good picturesque. Earlier it used to be a kind of a forest only. And this has been cleared about 600 acre area. And see on the road it goes through, and this is a professor's quarter, teacher's quarter on the other side, and this is the main block. And here, if you see, these are the vegetations. This vegetation is this called eco-forest. So actually, this is the remnant of the forest. Earlier, this forest actually had to be contiguous to innerland reserve forest. And this is another, there's a map. From this you can see, these are the deep forest area. And if you see the buildings are interspersed with the vegetation. So this gives a kind of, hamlet in forest. So this is a mosaic kind of habitat for many animals. And still I would say, suppose you can do birding, as well as we organized a workshop of bird conservation as well with field visitation, and none other than Dr. Rasatrufi Romani, ex-director of Bombay National History Society, my guru for my PhD. He came and he chosen, okay, this is good area to work with, and that's why many people were guided to learn some birds activities. Not only birds, this particularly Assam University campus also is a hub of many other animals, for example, some small insects as well. More than 160 species have been recorded. My student, Monsunjoti Gogo, is expert in butterfly, and he has collected all those things. And see, this is important when the type locality is Silkuri. Silkuri spelling is wrong. I should be there. I missed out. And even Kachar Mandarin Blue, this type locality used to be there. There is a place called Irongmara near just university campus, where this species 200 years back used to be there. So this particular area is historically or eco-historically very important. Not only insects, but if you see herpetofauna, again, and there are so many species here. And now Jayanto, that is Dr. Jayanto Kumar, my student, who had been working on these earlier, and he had got published a paper with his guide, Professor Mitra De, about the amphibians found in and around university campus. And particularly whenever in the monsoon season, you will be hearing the call of Leptobrachium smithi, like this, very loud call. And if you see the toke, this kind of toke go house easy. And we have got maybe 7 species of snakes are already there, both semi-venomous and venomous, as well as non-venomous, and we release back. And so it's like harmless snake, like we have recovered from even ladies' bathroom, sometimes even a computer center, all those things. So it is a good place for a snake as well. It's very difficult sometimes to go around for birding because of the snakes. Anyway, so even the king cobra is there. So Shivam Sarkar and his company got published a paper, and this king cobra is found others nearby university campus as well. But this fellow was found, and also the Burmese rock python is also occurring there. So these are the different, diversity, as I'm just introducing my university campus. And you see the primate also, besides rhesus macaque, we reported a paper in the northern pigtail macaque, in university campus, and there is Ferris leaf monkey or spectacle monkey. My student Hilloljyoti Singha has been working on this particular species for his PhD. And this particular langur or macaque is found just outside the campus or nearby campus, sometimes come over there. So with this introduction of this university, I would like to tell you one more interesting thing. The tea gardens in Barak Valley is very, very interesting. Unlike the tea gardens of Brahmaputra Valley, these are not, something is happening. These are not plain, but undulating like in Darjeeling you can see. Because all tea gardens used to be hills, and the hills have been, trees have been felled in the hills, locked out, and tree gardens have been made. But in this tea garden, some areas had been kept as such, because the British people or the tea managers used to think that, okay, these particular areas could be extended later on. But this did not happen, and the interspersed vegetation grew up, and it has become refuge to many animals. Many wildlife species are there. For example, if you see within the tea garden, this is Udan Bordagur. So you see this kind of even habitat you can find on the either side. You can make a good transact and see. So if one of our students, Longbek Ahmed, and his company had got published a paper in the tea garden species of birds. However, I would say it was published in Journal of Citizen Texas. There was a mistake. They reported the raven is found. Actually, raven is not found here. Never it could be found. But maybe there's some misidentification was there. So anyway, so in this again tea garden, you can see if it's rose garden, this Hilloljyoti also can be found. The only app in India. And another student of our Assam University, Dr. Mitrajit now, used to work on these species for the nutrition ecology, and he found not in other forests, but only in the tea garden. Not only this, you can find the Kaplangur, even because this is the shade trees in the tea garden, they are there. And another student, Mafidul, Dr. Mafidul used to work on this Kaplangur from our university, and he got PhD on this, even in the tea garden. So in this tea garden, there's some reward is waiting in the form of birding, the Jordan's Baja. So this photograph was taken by Udayan when we visited. And there are so many bird species there. So still you can come and see, because I'm just enticing you just to show by showing different habitats in Barak Valley, so that you can come and enjoy. Not only you should go to the forest directly, but you can enjoy in other areas as well. In this tea garden itself, suppose this is the tea garden. From that particular tea garden in Silkuri, another tea garden nearby, we saw, I and my immediate colleague, Dr. Pannadev, we saw a nest of something looking like a stock. Then in next visit, we tried to find it out. Ultimately, we discovered the nest of lesser adjutant. there was a first report of lesser adjutant nest in Barak Valley. Already, Amir Sohail Chaudhary has got published a paper on distribution of lesser adjutant in the Barak Valley. However, this we have still got to publish, but we have already seen. So this is a tree just near this tea garden. And this is another student of mine, Dipankar Bormon, and Monirujjaman and Dento Kumar Roy were there. So anyway, but what we do, I would like to show you some examples. That means if you just not to watch a bird, but also to observe, we can do something marvelous. For example, we used to give some diploma to the biodiversity conservation. So two of our students, Vishal Shonar and Parmita Paul, were working. So I gave the topic of Parmita to work on this nectarivora birds on the Bavonia tree. Okay, so she was working only for her dissertation, and now we can imagine during the lockdown period also on the terrace, you can see the birds. Similar way, nowhere to go, only from here she could observe and study all those things. At 33 species of birds were recorded, even out of them purple sunbird and purple rum sunbird were 100% frequent. And also we found the correlation between the different stages of flowers. Suppose stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 like this. That means full bloom bird, or maybe the bird, some flowers which is already dried up like this. So we got a good study within even 40 days. So again, another study I would like to show you is that we had worked on some birds in the campus earlier when we were very new and we did not have any money, we did not have any equipment, so what to do? We just surveyed in the university campus to find some nests. And we found that some nests have been made by different species. Well, out of these, one of them is spotted munia. And we started doing on nest material analysis of this particular species with our then MSc student, now he is Dr. Manavendra Chaudhary, Vishwajit Chokdar, my PhD scholar, Dr. Jayanta Kumar Rai, and my colleague Anadeb. So what we did, because this particular species usually nest in forest, usually nest in tree, but here they usually see in the ceiling fan, they use in the ventilation, they use different places in the buildings. So it was interesting for us, and I am not going to narrate what we did, but just I'm showing you that what the available materials we had, we tried to utilize, and we could find the nest, the phytomas, we found how much work was done to create or to build a nest. It was easy. And just to show you examples, this is the outer layer, middle layer, and we dismantled the nest and found how meticulously they made the nest. And we found which species of plant were used for that. And we found so many other interesting things. Anyway, so as I told you, we did try to find some nests or some species, but I gave a student, Vishwajit Chokdar, a topic in his MSc dissertation, and we got it published later on. And it was fruitful to see. That means in the university campus, that time 73 species of birds were recorded within even small duration of observation. And we found so many examples. For example, we segregated different habitats. As I told you, the habitat itself was a mosaic habitat. And we found, and some birds were specially found in some habitat only. So we put, some people may think, okay, bird can fly to everywhere. Yes, found. But some birds were restricted to some specifically habitat. So some birds still come to our department as well. Suppose we rescued these, and some other owl also we rescued and released them back. And this bird, actually I had tried to give this topic to Vishwajit, but because of lack of time, this ultimately shifted to Miraz Hussain, another student of mine who has been working on this particular species, Rufus naked laughing thrush. This has been posed abundantly in the university campus. Interestingly, I had seen the bird in Manas. Then in Barak Valley, we did not find so many areas. Now, again, the list has been increasing. Till now, probably Miraz has been working in this campus. So that's why near about 100 species of birds have been recorded. And we have got published also. For example, greatest spotted eagle also found in the university campus. So we put some mist nets also to work on the first naked laughing thrush. So this study has been going on, and that's why I will not disclose so many things, but we also collected the call records. We'll try to see the population dynamics and all, how the flock behavior, etc., of this bird. So within even the university campus, you can do a lot many things. Now, from this university campus, let us come to the Silchar city, because the university is about 25 kilometers from Silchar city, and it is very much densely populated city. So I would like to tell you that in my agenda, I'll be giving you some tests of birds of different habitats. For example, some species which is dwelling in urban habitat, some species from aquatic habitat, some species for terrestrial habitat, that even some in deep forests like this. So everything is there in Barak Valley. So this is the river Barak. See, the Barak means in Sanskrit is called Bakrobak. Bakrobak means different meandering curves. See, so mean that's why the name came from Bakrobak in Sanskrit, like this. And this is the sister city. So what I did, my student Hilloljyoti Singha, so it made it. He is a specialist boy. So later on I'll show his picture as well. So what we did, even you can see that bird could be interesting in the urban area as well. So we did with the point count method. And earlier, my student, Dr. Anukul Nath, also had done this kind of work in Guwahati city. So it was easier for us to follow the method up. And that's why, so you see, till in the first year itself, we could record 50 species. And even the Shannon index was 2.5. So among these species, house sparrow was there. So interestingly, house sparrow, we have to give more attention. People are saying that house sparrow has been declining or something like this. So we have to give attention to that species as well. So we found house crow, common myna, all those things. Interestingly, we did this kind of hot map of all the species. For example, the house crow distribution, where they are distributed, see the outer boundary of the Silchar city, and this is a hot spot. That means this species has been localized to some areas only, the core urban areas. So again, house sparrow, see, if I show you just an example, I'm going quickly. For this is for house crow, and if you go, this is little bit shifting trees, house sparrow. So they have been segregating themselves, that niche has been separated out. Similarly, another is the rock pigeon, you can see. Similarly, you can find the pied myna, which is not in the town itself, just adjacent or in the outskirts of the city. Then, even the jungle crow, as we know, the jungle crow is not a tree, urban dweller, but we can find still you can find, and I say in Barak Valley, I have seen this long-billed crow or the jungle crow in many, in large number in comparison to Brahmaputra Valley. I don't know what is the reason. So this could be a research question as well. So anyway, so with this, we can see these are the common birds which have been recorded, and see the habitat. See the commercial area, residential area, and also that means 8 species are sharing this thing. And some species are found only outskirts, some species found. So this way we can find a similarity index in the among the species which is living in different habitats within a particular big habitat. We have segregated them out in terms of some environmental cues, environmental variables like this. So this is an interesting topic, but it is a PhD topic itself. That's why I'm just giving the glimpse of this idea. So again, as I told you, when we were in Niziram Sardar, that means we did not have any Dhal Torwal, that means we did not have any munition or one, a weapon. Just we got settled down in university and we did not have it to do. So we did survey. And we found nest site selection, how the passerine species did. So we found 157 nests of 5 species. So it is a record itself. And this is the species. So interestingly, we found more than 100 pairs of house sparrow nests built in university campus. So it was a kind of news. Because at the time we have been hearing about this, okay, the house sparrow have been declining all over the country or something like this. So where did they make nest? They make nest some broken bulb or something like this. They made nests in the buildings and all those things. That means they are so adaptive species they could do. So again, it is attracted to my student who had been studying in ABC College in Tamil Nadu in wildlife science to do his master's dissertation. Anukul Nath, he came and he took this, 2 species under Dr. Nagaraja, the Passer domesticus and Passer montanus, that is house sparrow and tree sparrow. What is the separation of these? And we try to find out different, niche separation between these 2 congeneric species. And there are so many interesting things, but I'm just showing you that by observation only, you just don't rule it out or don't ignore the common species. We can do marvelous things. Like activity budget, you can see there are, differences in between house sparrow and trees, house sparrow female and house sparrow male. We can find the difference even. And in the railway platform of Silchar, we counted more than 3,000 number of house sparrow roosting. So this is still is an example of total count, but myself and Anukul had to count it, and our shoulder had got some pain actually to count all those things. But still, we had a record that we find in the Silchar railway station itself, the house sparrow could take their shelter. Now, entry of Pallavi, in Pallavi, she was my student in BSc and she became the student of dairy. Later on, she also came attracted to, again, Assam University to her master's thesis. And we continued with what we had observed earlier. Again, the species between tree sparrow and house sparrow. She tried to see the niche separation again within this. As I told you, so many examples are there. There's significant correlation between the number of uncovered light boxes or light posts and the nest number we found. And 83% of utilization of light posts have been found. So interestingly, how the birds have adapted to. And see, these are the different substrata they used, and light post was the maximum. And I'm not showing everything, but just to see here, just to show you here. See, interestingly, we just try to do the activity budget between the two sparrow species. And here you can see only the difference you can see in the foraging, means foraging. So there's different time of the day, morning, afternoon, and late evening. See the separation. During the morning, house sparrow take the turn, and tree sparrow come in the morning, in the evening. That means, okay, you go there, I will wait, like this. So they have done this trophic niche separation. So within even few months study, we could do this kind of analysis as well. Okay, so, okay, now let us come back from this to, let us go to some jungle maybe. So there are 12 reserve forests and what I had already shown you earlier in Barak Valley, one wildlife sanctuary. And suppose this inner line reserve forest is the biggest one in Assam. And there are some different entry points. We went to Dholai Range and courtesy to Sunny Dev Chaudhary Sahab, who was the DFO then, and with our diploma student Vishal and Parmita and Dullab, as I told you, Dullab had worked on earlier. And these are the most deciduous forest. And sometimes if you go interior, there are different kinds of vegetation also. And I would like to show you, this is the field note I had, and this is the signature of all those things. And within one day of 2 hours observation only, we could record 24 species. And see the Sanonia index 2.65. Interesting. So it shows, it is just an indication that if you do continuously in this kind of forest, you would come back with so many reward. We saw black baja, as I tell you here also you can find brown shrike, black baja, all are recorded. So, and now let us go to deep jungle again. So again, see, this is the Miraj Hussain. He is not rock climbing, but it is one of the habitats called Bombay Thal in Bodoland Wildlife Sanctuary. It is tough terrain. They have to go and do camp because they could not come back within one day. And for his own research, he has to go there to do. And sometimes we could do the students to cross the river that is coming from hill and all those things. And other students, even through this kind of stream, this is the only way you can go through, because deep jungles on the either side of your trail. This trail is nothing but a stream. So even the girl students were accompanied by us, and see, Onukul was younger at that time. Anyway, and it gives me always pleasure to lead my students to the forests or to jungle or whatever for the study of birds and all. And all the students are enthusiastic, and that's why, for example, this Vishwajit Bikumitori, Manavendra, they already have got PhD. Dipankar Burman is under PhD program. Vishwajit is under PhD program, and Monsoon Jyoti is about to get their PhD on this thing. And this is Geeta from Manipur, and this and this she actually had left, because I will show you what happened. So this is the Bodoland Wildlife Sanctuary, carve out this from here, and there is a river called Jatinga, which is separated off into 2 blocks, West Block and East Block. And here it is written in Bengali that without permission you cannot enter. So that is another, signboard here. And Dr. Romani visited Bodoland, and my colleague Dr. Panadi was there. There is a river called Jatinga here. We could enter through this area as well. So there are different entry points to enter into Bodoland Wildlife Sanctuary and see the beauty of Bodoland. There are so many different habitats are there. As I told you, Bombay Thal, Bandar Khal, Durbin Tila. It is a peak, is a highest peak in Bodoland Wildlife Sanctuary. It is Durbin, means a telescope. The British people used to put one telescope from here. They used to keep vigil to their enemies. They say like this. And there are so many streams in there. So it is good place even for herpetofauna. Dr. Abhijit Das has got a good report out of this, and he got published a paper on this. So anyway, so this is challenging to work on this, and we found this is some glimpse of this. And in between, sorry, just to, I'll show you, we got published on one paper. like this. Sorry. I'm sorry to show you. Okay. Anyway, there is a problem. Anyway, I can move back to. Okay. Gosh. Sorry, I'm not. Yes, I should share the screen now. Uh, can you see just a minute? Can you see the screen? I don't know. This is actually the paper recently has been published. Avian diversity of Boreal Wildlife Sanctuary. So Mira's, my student, has been working on
Hilol,
this.
we can't.
Sorry. Can you
Hilol,
see?
we can't see the screen.
Okay.
We can only see all your folders. So
Anyway,
maybe you
this
go
is
back
the
to the
only,
present.
no problem. I'll go back to my presentation anyway. To go back to my presentation. Can you see the screen now?
Coming, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is some glimpse of the birds actually we recorded during this, and this is interesting, brown hornbill, and this we had got published the article in Birding Asia about Austin's brown hornbill, which is very rare actually. There are 5 species of hornbills found in Northeast India. Out of this, brown hornbill is very rare. Aparajita Datta had recorded in Arunachal, and that we recorded first in the Boreal Wildlife Sanctuary. So, and later on, so these are the things, and still we could not see so many species, but we could collect the gray peacock pheasant. This is the sign, and some hunters are already there. So that means you could find some trophies, and still I would say so many things to be discovered, I guess, because of vigorous field visits to be made. Whatever we tried, we tried. See, Monsoon and Miraj was there with the local guards, and these other pictures of the other species as well, in not only the Boreal Wildlife Sanctuary, but in Barak Reserve Forest, Sonai Reserve Forest, all are there. So anyway, with this little bait break, so if you have to go to the find to see the bird, and if you're a birder and bird watcher actually rather, you will always have you are equipped with some camera. It's not it. I am not a good photographer. As I told, I don't carry a camera just to see the bird. I like to see the bird. Then if you want to see, if you cannot see the bird, then you shoot a ladybird. How? We was already tired and I was shooting her. This is nothing but our Gita. Because it is always, if the result is like this, if the result is so beautiful, then it is always rewarding. So that's why you can relax sometimes when birding. If you cannot shoot a bird, go for shooting others. Anyway, so with this small anecdote, I would like to in lighter vein. So we'll come to wetland, the aquatic wetland, aquatic habitat. I take example in the form of Shornbill, the largest wetland in Assam. Actually, it becomes like you see the dimension. You can see the up to horizon. This while during monsoon, this is the vastness of this area, and everything statistics is written over here. So it is an IBA. And if you see the GIS map, thanks to Arup, that's from Aranyag, and see this is oval-shaped lake, and so many points are there. We had done, my student and my friend, Dr. Hilloljyoti Chakravarti from Hailakandi SS College, from Zoology Department, has done his PhD on this particular topic of avifauna diversity in Shornbill. So, and we did a lot many things. That's this the hydrology. Actually, this has been changed since 1970s to 2000 onwards. This bill has been shrunk and shrunk. So these are the actually see the hills. So it is like a basin. It is like a basin, and this is already the logging over there, and so many trees have been felled, and that's why siltation are there and become things. And so many, I mean, agriculture practices are also there. So anyway, this has been so many, what should I say, problematic, but I'm not going to that particular thing. But always like riding by bike or by motorbike or as well as car, boating is also very interesting in these kind of areas. So this is Dr. Hilloljyoti and Professor Viman Datta, who was also our co-supervisor, and 3 marketeers went for birding. And this is how during winter it becomes like this. See, See, this is way through, you have to go through like this, all the aquatic vegetations and the boat, you should go to the main water body like this. So it is very interesting wetland. The hydrology is very interesting. And 89 of species we recorded, and Shannon in the, as you can see, is always good higher, more than 3. And we recorded migratory species of 28 and resident species 61. However, interestingly, I would say, once even we had been following Chaudhary, Dr. Anaruddin Chaudhary had been writing on this, and Shonville once was actually good for migratory birds as well. But now the migratory birds are very few ducks, or maybe not less than, so many problems are there because excessive fishing are there. You can see that people have been doing, because lessees are there, people doing so many fixes, and the open water is not so visible. And that's why ducks are not there, but other birds like osprey, you can see Brahmini duck and purple heron, gray heron, all are there. The waders are there. You can see gray-headed leopard, also the golden plover, all are there. And only the ducks like lesser rustling teal are there. And these are bamboo poles, you can see besides this bird, red stilt, these are compartment of bamboo barrages. You see, how the ducks will move. Because these compartments are made for fishing, because this is my area, this is your area, like this. So during winter, it becomes very difficult. So that's why one of the reasons might be the migratory birds, that is ducks or goose or geese, stop coming there. You can still get the wader birds and shore birds over there, and birds like this, and storks, even the egrets. And Dr. Hilloljyoti Chakraborty had done some work on the niche separation between two species of egrets, like great egret, median egret, as well as with the little egret, just to see how do they separate themselves in different space of the water. And the interesting thing, I am not going to show the entire thesis, but I'm showing you how the fluctuation of the diversity and throughout the year, right from February to February, you can see the fluctuation. So this fluctuation, you see during winter, this is a peak. That means it influx is there because of migratory birds. And if you see, if you separate them aquatic and terrestrial, that aquatic birds always more than the terrestrial birds. Of course, it is a bill, it is a wetland, but still similar trend is followed. similar trend is followed by both this group of birds. And even if we segregate between migratory and residential, the residential bird is always see. What I showed you, this earlier photograph, because of the together we considered, and that's why you showed this kind of fluctuation or this kind of shape of the graph. But if you see, the culprit is not for this because of the migratory birds, this particular pattern you can see, because it comes and goes up. And this residential bird always almost similar in trend. So we did find a lot of interesting phenomenon. As I told you, the fishing, extensive fishing is there. See the fishing gears. See the extensive fishing gears, as I told you already. So enormous fishing practice is there in Shonville. And however, the poaching is also there. And people make this kind of net. It is almost mist net, not by mist net, but they put the nest, and because of fog and other things, the birds cannot see heat. However, this kind of warning will not do anything unless you convince the people, because without this, you cannot, get the protection of these fields. And that's why this is the good sign found in the forest of inner line reserve forest. You have to behave like animals only. Then only probably the forest can be saved. So with this, I would like to finish my talk because there are so many questions I get saved. And with this, I would like to thank you, the organizers particularly, and thank you for the audience for your patient hearing. Thank you. Sarala.
Thank you, Hilal. So I'm just looking at questions. So, okay.
So shall I stop sharing now, or?
So there is one question from Shreya Sarashjarin. So which are the bird species that need to be conserved in future?
See, all birds to be conserved. There is nothing. Suppose, for example, the house crow looks like vermin. Vermin in the sense that people are, most birds are there. And we have got survey, we have done surveys, our questionnaire survey and all those things. You probably, Shreya Sarjan is from Rajasthan, I guess. Maharashtra. So people dislike house crow. But who knows? For example, once the white-backed vultures and all the vultures also were crowded. Okay, So many are there. Nobody thought ever that vulture will decline like this. That's a proportion crush. So we have to notice, we have to monitor all the species of birds. Of course, if you give the priority, then of course you have to give the priority to the critically endangered, and all the threatened species first, then the near threatened and the others. However, one species alone cannot be saved, because as I already shown you in the urban bird dwelling, every bird or all birds live in a community. So they are connected together. So one species gone, it has got indirect or direct effect on the other bird species as well. So it is a holistic approach. You should not say that I will save only this bird particularly. Thank you.
Okay, the second question is from Ritu Paban Kotoki. Where are the publications made and how can I read the articles?
Ritu Bhavan, articles, maybe, I don't know, I don't have research gate also. You can check if you are interested to which article, I don't know. If you want to get
get in
articles,
touch with you
yes,
directly.
I can supply if you get the email ID, and I mean, Sola maybe being the kind runner, so I can supply to you whatever article. And you can find in internet as well. Some articles are always there.
So Brian Lobo writes, have you been able to relate the current data of Barak Valley to any historical data to understand how the population of these birds have changed? So have you compared with the historical data? That's what he asks.
This is a tedious job. As I already told you, that there had not been such thorough investigation. These three records are there. For example, we had to rely on the British writers, I mean, British officers rather. Whenever, whoever were there, suppose they may be military person, he may be engineer, whatever, they used to write notes. And on the basis of notes, with some records, we can understand, okay, this bird is present or not. Then Navnita Dev and Professor Abhigupta also worked on some birds in and around in Silchar and Kachar like this. And we can find some records in the book of Dr. Anuruddin Chaudhary like this. But in thorough study of some bird like we have been working on, this is not there. So it is very difficult to compare with in terms of the abundance and all those things. But you can say, suppose, for example, some grass birds is to be there. These are not found, for example. Okay, so, francolin. So this francolin we have not witnessed yet. So this bird has been probably lost, something like that. We do not know. So this kind of thing we can compare.
Okay. The next question is from Mr. Shubhas Chandra.
Thank you, Madam Ilona. I saw your comments. Thank you. Yes.
So just make your answer short, okay, Hilol, because there are many questions.
Okay, thank you.
We know that out of 4 IBAs in Barak Valley, the inner line, Kokrajhar and Barak RF is 1. So there are, the last report of green peafowl in Assam was from Barak Reserve Forest in 1970. Do you have any recent reports of the bird from the area, green peafowl?
May I know who is the, I mean, who asked
Shubhas
this?
Chanda, Shubhas, I said.
Sorry?
Shubhas Chanda.
Shubhas, I know. He is a good birders from Kokrajhar. So we had not come across. As I told you, there's some peacock vision we have seen, but we don't know. Probably it is not there, at least. But there could be, for example, the Mizoram border or Manipur border, whatever. One see. For example, one turtle species we got it in the Mizoram border.
Okay, just a second. I'm trying to look at, okay. Somebody is asking, can you throw, okay. There is a shrike first. So indeed there is much diversity in the Barak Valley. Can you throw some light regarding bird diversity in and around Bodoland University? So maybe you can quickly reply because this talk is more.
Yes, but Bodoland University campus is very small, but still you can do lot many things.
Okay. So can you say something about Bodoland University? Can you throw some light regarding bird diversity?
I don't have torchlight now anyway, but I can say, yes, but as if you compare with the Assam University campus, it is, as I told you, the mosaic habitat condition is not found in Bodoland. Recently, because of lockdown, some grasses are coming out, and I have seen many grass species now. So it is interesting now. That means wherever habitat is changed, the species go over there. So this could be a good comparison also.
So Noel Phoning, he's from Kalimpong and a very good bird photographer. He's asking, is brown hornbill regularly sighted in Barak Valley?
We saw 18 number, and not Bobeli. You have to go to the forest and maybe Bodoland Wildlife Sanctuary, and it was our luck. Actually, we could see it, uh, and see it into deep forest as well. So maybe it is not a regular sighting, but it's still there.
Uh, Rajneesh Suvarna asks, Sonbil would be a good habitat for Jordan's bush chat. Has there been a search for it?
No, I'm sorry to say. Actually, just along the bank of the Shonbil, there is hardly any forest. There is not so much reed also, as you have already witnessed, as I already shown you.
Okay.
Thank you.
There are mostly comments from people. Okay, people are saying like it was a good presentation. It was very informative.
Thank you. Thank you.
They're all appreciating your presentation, and they think it's all very informative. I don't see any other question.
Okay. How many people are attending? I don't know.
Okay, just a second, Hilal, please. What are the primary threats and conservation issues?
Okay.
Barak?
The general threats are everywhere almost similar. Almost similar. As I told you, that the habitat destruction and habitat shrink is another issue, the poaching, hunting all over there. And there is no such specific threat. However, as I told you, the most of the reserve forests are not in good shape, except for Borak Reserve Forest, Una Reserve Forest, and some other forest. And that is a challenge actually for the forest officers as well, because some forests are very big, some are small, and some, because of, again, Borak Valley is it's still inhabited by many different people of caste and communities. So there is also a different culture, also depends on like this.
Somebody asks a very general question about, forest cover in Northeast is disappearing so fast. So what should be done immediately?
See, first of all, as I told you, the forests cover are disappearing. We have to arrest this. We have to put more afforestation effort, fine. But here we have to go with the planning. It is not haphazardly do everything. I have an opinion. Only peaceful people have done all the damages. Whatever people go for forests just to get some firewood, they have not damaged so much. But only few peaceful people who can cut the trees and load in the truck and shift it somewhere within one night. They're the main culprit. So you have to point out those things. And this is always has been challenging. So we can just say, okay, put and plant more trees, nothing else. You have to do it, and you have to be, and we have been trying actually. So many people are already convinced they should protect themselves. So many conservation areas are there where people have been protecting themselves. Otherwise, it is very impossible to do that.
So I have a question, Hilal. So you
Thank you.
showed us a lot of pictures about these slash and burn and all that, no?
No pictures, 3 pictures only I showed you.
No, that's what I'm saying. You showed us some pictures. So is that also one? What is your opinion about slash and burn, and how
Yes,
it
yes,
impacts bird habitats?
yes. I have to say. See, so many debates are there on this probably. Some in for and against. And slash and burning is a practice, traditional practice throughout Northeast India, up to Sikkim as well. Everywhere it is there. Okay, so earlier this cycle or the fallow period was very long. Suppose after 30 years they used to come back. Now because of increasing number of population and so on, they could not come back. I mean, they cannot give the trees to revive. So secondary forest cannot grow faster. This is one very important thing to happen. But nowadays I have seen in different parts of the Barak Valley with my student Demsarian that some of the people now, they are not shifting. They are doing the same areas, whatever they have burned and slashed, but they are cultivating there only because hardly they have got something. But there is a study by Shankaraman and Joydev in Mizoram. They have found even during the zooming or whenever they clear the forest, because in the secondary forest, the bird diversity was found more than in the primary forest as well. So it is very interesting to know in the percentages of bird. However, I would say, if you finish the forest, It is not, it is never good always. But it is a scientific process again. Whenever they do in the slope, see what the crops will grow at the bottom, what the crops will grow the secondary year, everything is there. It's a very interesting topic actually. There are so many, I mean, it is a in-depth knowledge I don't have, but interesting topic too.
Yeah, perhaps it's a gap in knowledge, and up for young
Yes,
people who are listening today to this
yes.
talk to also take up this work. The other thing is Bishal Sonar is asking, can we say that the pandemic may change the diversity of birds, and that more number of species of birds in an area as because pandemic, you have the movement restriction. So he wants to know, do we have more species of birds right now? Can we see more species of birds?
Where are you going to say? In the street? Movement cannot be restricted to the forest. No pandemic can restrict the movement of people into the forest. Whatever, wherever, it is there. You can see some changes. Suppose during early period of lockdowns, many pictures were there. Okay, the city is very silent and all the species from the outskirts have there. You can see all the, I mean, what kind of say, I will say, these kind of pictures are there, emotional pictures, but I don't see. However, as I already mentioned in Bodoland University itself, as the habitats have been changing very fast, some species are occupying and replacing the others. So you can see the changes. That is still a particular topic to do research. Without doing research, I cannot predict. I may have hypothesis, but without doing research, I should not say.
Okay, Subhas Chanda again asks, there's another important protected area, and the only wildlife sanctuary is the Barak Wildlife Sanctuary, and Austin's brown hornbill, a near threatened species, was sighted from that area. Can you say something about the status of the bird in the area? Austin's brown hornbill.
See, Subhash Chanda and all other people as well. So what I have shown it here, just the basic platform where we can go on further. Suppose we have recorded this many species of birds or this many group of birds, and Austin brown hornbill itself could be a topic of further research. Or all the species of hornbills, where whatever is found, we could see. As Dr. Prasita Doctor had been working in Namdapha and other places in Arunachal Pradesh. The similar study can also be done. So science can grow like this.
So there's probably a student, I think, Rupa Debadikari asks, how do you count birds which make nests on top of big trees? I think you are the best person to answer that.
This is a magic, madam. Actually, there was another talk where I narrated the different methodology here. So it is difficult to make you understand in such a way, but there are methods in such a way. Suppose in a wetland, you have separate method. If you go to the forest, you have separate method. For example, as I mentioned, point count methods here. For example, if you go to the deep forest, you go, for example, suppose 10 meters, then you stop there and look around your within certain radius, maybe within 10 meters, because more than 10 meters, you may not see the birds. You stop for 5 minutes. Whatever you found, you record and go on. Again, after maybe 200 meters, you stop and see like this. This could be a method. Haphazardly, you cannot do all these things. Whatever you do, you can make a list, but it could not be analyzed as well. So this is the problem. So there are so many other methods like transect method, line transect method we followed, trail method we followed, and within the grassland you can follow line transect method. Within deep wood, you should go for point count method and so on.
So there's another question about, do you think the house sparrows are threatened and whether they are going extinct?
I don't say they are going to extinct in near future, but this status has not been updated in such a way. I don't know, but I would say one thing: it is like a hawks actually. Whatever had been publicized regarding house sparrow, I don't think they are so rare. I don't think. Everywhere I go, I just put my eyes on the house sparrow. Wherever I go, I always see house sparrow everywhere, and I put record. Okay, and here in Silchar, as I already shown you, 3,000 birds can be found within the railway station itself. And I am not disclosing, our papers are there in Guwahati city, how many house sparrow we have counted. We have a record. So anyway, so we have to go scientifically. Birds are much smarter than you are. They may nest, and people say test houses are gone, and that's why they are extinct. No, they have alternatives. They make nests on the rolling shutter. They make nest on the open bulb like this. So many things that they can do.
How environmental, another question by Shrabasti Bandopadhyay is how environmental parameters affect the bird species? Environmental parameters affect birds.
Yes, of course, because the birds have to live in environment. So any environmental change detrimental to them are going to change their habitat as well as their population. Of course, there are so many ways. For example, as I told you, climate change could be an environmental factor, and maybe heavy rainfall may also be bad or good, whatever. Temperature rises up. So maybe pollution, but could be radioactive pollution. It could be noise pollution. It could be dust pollution, whatever. So many things are there.
Bishop Priya is also a member of, I think, the president of actually Birdwatch Society. Yes. Is there a very ardent bird watcher again from Northeast?
Thank you.
Is there any comprehensive checklist of the birds of the Barak Valley? It should be a good passage for east-west migration.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for this beautiful session. Actually, we have been thinking of and we have been preparing. Now, as I told you, my student, or we have been suppose we have already got published that the birds of wildlife sanctuary. This is the first, annotate as well as collaborated, collated checklist. We are going to do similar things in other reserve forests. For example, birds of Barak reserve forest, birds of Sonai reserve forest. We are combining together. And then, as I told you, different research scholars are working in different areas. We have recorded 53 species of birds within the city itself. So all will be combined together. Maybe, okay, with your blessing, we can do it further. We have to wait for some time.
So Pranab Goswami asks, is there conservation drive going on in Barak Valley at present, especially for birds? Maybe for around 16 threatened species. Is there any prominent organization working there?
Oh.
Is there any conservation activities going on, and is there any prominent organization working there?
Not like this as Aranyak has been working on like this. But small organizations are there. They have been working on their own feet and trying to do this. But there is no such mobilization as such. Like there is no in Club Jindabad as such. However, because as I told you, you have to first know the record of birds, how many birds are there. Suppose once we come out with the results, we can circulate it and we can try to mobilize the people over there. It is very necessary, of course.
I think with that, we come almost to the end. So there are a couple of questions. I'm just going to see, just a second. Somebody is asking if any, okay. Asks again about hornbill population decrease. Okay, I don't think this is specific to Barak Valley, so I'm not going to allow. And in any, there's a question on bird flu. Somebody is asking, is there any possibility of, I guess this is also not regarding Barak Valley.
Yes.
It's another, yeah. So
no. Maybe I can intervene a little bit. It may be general question, but given the position of the Barak Valley within Northeast region, okay, it is again the two migratory routes going over there or something like this. Yes, bird flu could be a possibility. We do not know bird influenza is there. We do not know how Japanese encephalitis virus has been, carried by some herons. We do not know it yet. So many, scopes are there. Sorry.
Somebody wants to ask, what is the current status of the Indian cormorant in Barak Valley?
I don't know. I don't give you the statistics as such. But the Indian cormorant, whatever, it is not so in large number. As even Shonbill, the largest wetland, we did not see so many. So that's why I'm telling you, without doing research, we don't know anything. And hence, I guess, or I'm almost sure that with this talk, actually, many people are enthusiastic to do so many things. You can pick it up.
Okay, I think that's all that we will take. And thank you, Hillol, so much for this.
Thank you, all of you actually who have been supporting me. And so many, how many audiences are there? I did not count. I did not know.
It was around 80 people joined.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So that's good. Thank you, Hillol, for agreeing to talk today.
Subrata madam is there.
And
Suprita Madam is a very well teacher from Bodoland University. She is there. I see Arvind Mishra from Bihar, my friend. Thank you. And many people from other parts of the country as well. Sunita B is also there. Now you can see. Vallabh Dev is from another teacher.
okay.
From,
So we'll, Hilol, we'll just conclude now.
okay.
And thank you everyone for coming and participating very enthusiastically. Fortunately for us, we've got audience who are very, very enthusiastic and participate very, very actively. So thank you to everyone. Thank you especially to the Bird Watchers Society, our group. They've also been very, very active. And also, I mean, they've been supporting this webinar. And also, I think I urge, of course, the Bird Watchers group to please also make Barak Valley as one of their
Yes.
to go.
Of course. I welcome.
And do some
Definitely
surveys
do that, yes.
and checklists and all that. I'm sure it'll be really good. Sujan,
Yes.
please.
Thank you
Make
so much, Dr. Singha.
Thank you, Hilol.
For being asked.
And thank you, everyone.
Sir, could I entice people from Birdwatcher Society to come over to Barak Valley?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to entice. We'll land up anyway.
I could
Just a matter of
so
time. Just a matter of time, and people like to be
Yes.
travel, so we'll come over definitely.
And my
Now that we are
students all over
connected-
here from Assam University, all of them will be helping you out,
Absolutely.
and they will be part of your
So we also
journey.
want to push eBird, use of eBird, etc. in Assam.
Yes.
There was planned to do that this May, but unfortunately all the
Hello.
plans have been jeopardized. We were trying to coordinate with Bird Count India to be there in Bodoland University. But hopefully,
Yes.
maybe if not this year, obviously next year we'll make a plan to meet up and then carry on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. And please stay safe and look out for our other webinars. Bye-bye.